History is about chaps. Geography is about maps. Or so the old saying goes. It may be an old saying, but you will meet at least one map and possibly more in your GCSE geography examinations. You could be asked questions about distance, scale, or direction, and that's what we're going to look at in this pod.
Let's start with distance. In order to work out distances, you need to use the scale shown on the map. Ordnance Survey maps are usually 1 to 50,000 or 1 to 25,000. But what does this actually mean? 1 to 50,000 means that 1 centimetre on the map represents 50,000 centimetres in real life. 50,000 centimetres is a bit unwieldy, but if we change it into metres, it's 500 metres. So, 1 centimetre on the map is 500 metres in real life, and 2 centimetres is 1 kilometre. That last measurement is very useful, as the grid squares on a 1 to 50,000 map are 2 centimetres or 1 kilometre apart.
Have a look at this map extract. The map is 5 squares from west to east, so that's 5 kilometres. Or you could have a 1 to 25,000 Ordnance Survey map like this one. The grid squares on the map still represent 1 kilometre, but this time they're 4 centimetres wide. At a scale of 1 to 25,000, 1 centimetre on the map equals 250 metres in real life. This means that 4 centimetres represents 1 kilometre.
You could be asked to measure the distance between two features, between two six-figure grid references, or between 2 points on a map. You might be asked to do this in a straight line, sometimes called as the crow flies. Or you might have to measure the distance along a road or river that doesn't follow a straight line. Let's go back to the first map we looked at.
You could be asked, what is the straight line distance between the N of Newent and Moat Solar Farm in the southeast? Here you'd measure the distance on the map using a ruler. This is why it's important to remember to take a ruler into the exam room. You can also take in your calculator, which might help you to convert centimetres to kilometres. Imagine you find with your ruler that it's 7 centimetres. On the map, 2 centimetres is equal to 1 kilometre. This means you need to divide 7 by 2. So 7 centimetres is equal to 3.5 kilometres. That would be the distance in real life between the two places.
But what if you were asked to measure the B4215 from Malswick to Picklenash, for example? Here, you would need a piece of string to follow along the road. Using string, you might find it measures 10.2 centimetres. Dividing this by 2 is 5.1 kilometres.
In the exam, you could also be asked to work out the area of something, and this is where knowing 1 square is 1 kilometre is really helpful. Look at this map. A typical multiple choice question could be, what is the approximate area of Grapham Water? Is it 3 kilometres squared, 7 kilometres squared, 12 kilometres squared, or 20 kilometres squared?
In order to work this out, you should start by looking at all the squares that are coloured blue. How many whole squares, or almost whole squares, are coloured in blue? Approximately 5. You then have some squares that are part blue, so you should then try to estimate how many full squares you could make out of these part blue pieces. Approximately 2. So, you'd come to the answer 7, as 5 plus 2 is 7.
Along with distance, you may be asked about direction, so you should be familiar with an 8-point compass like this one. Let's have a look at a typical exam type question using this map. In what direction is Acorn Wood from Newent? The question wants the direction from Newent, so that's your starting point. Using the compass, we can see that Acorn Wood is to its southwest, so that's the answer. Can you see how direction is being used together with grid references in this question? The question could even use 6-figure grid references, so you should make sure you're really confident with these. You may want to have a look at our pod on this if you're not sure.
Direction is really useful if you're asked to locate something. Have a look at this map and an example question. Describe the location of Dereham. This is a 3-mark question. Here are 2 candidates' answers. Which do you think is the best? Candidate A has written, Dereham is right in the middle of the map. It is by Wymondham and below Walsingham. Candidate B has written, Dereham is to the south of Walsingham. It is northwest of Wymondham. Oxborough is to the southwest of Dereham.
Both candidates have made 3 points, which is the right thing to do for 3 marks. But ask yourself which answer would help you to find Dereham. Candidate B has the better, more geographical answer. You should describe places in relation to others using compass directions, like candidate B has done in this example, describing Dereham as south of Walsingham and northwest of Wyndham.
Let's leave it there. So, what do you need to remember about distance, scale, and direction? On an Ordnance Survey map, 1 grid square represents 1 kilometre. You'll need to bring a ruler and a calculator to your geography exams. And lastly, when describing the location of places, always use compass directions for accuracy. Good luck, and feel free to rewatch this pod and make notes if you're still feeling uncertain.